Hi, and welcome back to the Salary Step Up. I'm Rick Richardson. This is step 13 in the series, and in this step we're going to be discussing influencing others. So, with influencing others, sometimes I get a little pushback from people because it's perceived as being manipulative or deceptive, and I want to assure you that you can influence other people and still do it in a very high integrity atmosphere. One where you're not going to try to influence them or persuade them to do something that is counter to what you believe is the right thing to do. Also, at no point in this process are you going to be able to bully somebody without knowing that you're doing that. If that's your thing and that's how you operate, well, shame on you. You shouldn't do that. But you can do it in a very positive way. And that's what I'm going to talk about. So with influencing other people, you just have to maintain that you are going to treat them as you would want to be treated. And if you're doing that, you won't have any problems with your own emotional feelings of that you're going to take advantage of them or anything like that. So just always think of it this way. You're not going to do something to somebody else that you wouldn't allow to be done to you. Now, when you're talking about influencing other people, obviously you want to be the one choosing what's being influenced and to what degree. When we're doing the influencing, it is important that you understand that you have decided exactly what you want to influence, what changes you want to occur, and how you're going to manipulate in a positive way the situation to have the desired outcome that you've chosen. Now, one thing that we do all the time is that we're actually influencing other people subconsciously. We're always trying to get somebody to do something that we want done, but we don't tend to give a lot of thought to it other than just the simple asking of someone to do it. Whether it's your kids trying to get them to clean their room, or it's your spouse trying to sway them one way or the other as to what movie you might go and see, your friends to picking an activity. But what I'm talking about here is to make it conscious and deliberate. So you're choosing what you want to influence, and you've chosen the desired outcome, the target, the goal. So that's where you're going to put your focus, that's where you're going to put your energy into this. The first part of influencing someone is after you've chosen what you want to have as your goal, but where the actual influencing comes from, is to make sure that you have a receptive party. Now, the person that you're trying to influence, you want to make sure that you're coming across in a positive and disarming manner. If you come out in an aggressive way or try to push something on someone, you can have an influence on people to get them to do something in the short term with a lot of force, but you're not going to win them over. You're not going to have that person go, wow, I really like that they just took control of me and forced me to do what I didn't want to do. What we're talking about here is to have a very subtle, very unobtrusive, very, very covert way of influencing the other person's opinion of you and making it more receptive. So you want to be very friendly in any time that you're trying to get someone to see things from your perspective. So getting into that person's thoughts is the next step in this. That's how you're going to figure out how they are going to be thinking and how you want to change their thinking. So in our other steps, we've talked about understanding where the person's coming from and being able to read them a little bit. But in this one, we're talking about how we are going to take what we know about how they think, and we're going to turn that a little bit. And a lot of times, it's not so much that we're wanting to do a 180, it's just a few degrees, one way or the other, and just changing it a little bit. One example of this is that we want to change them into a future perspective. So when they're thinking about your pay request, we don't want them just thinking about what you've done for them in the past. That should be clear and obvious. What we want to do is influence their thinking about the future. So when we're changing their perspective and getting them to think about the future, we want them to think about if you weren't there, what would be harder to accomplish? What wouldn't get accomplished? What would be missed? Where do you bring things to the table and production and other interactions with the company that if you were gone, those things would be missed? Now, everybody's replaceable to some degree, obviously, but we want to make sure that they understand that if you left and they had to replace you, that it wouldn't be a smooth and easy transition. There would be some pain, some discomfort in that process. By switching their thinking to future perspective, that's what we were wanting to accomplish, is to have them realize that if you weren't there, if they suffer that loss, that it's something they don't want to have happen. So the way we do this is we plant a seed and then we let them make the connection between the two. So in your presentation, and we're going to do some of this in advance of the presentation, you're going to be showing them that you are the right person for the job. But in the presentation itself, we're going to allow them to see two pieces, but we're not going to make the connection for them. We want them to make the connection. That connection being made in their mind by them is going to make them feel that they have ownership of it. So what I'm talking about here is, if you were to show them what you have on the table that you're working for in the future, where you want to move with your department, your job, whatever it is that you're in charge of, and you show them, this is where I'm going with this, and that's the one part of the presentation. And then in another part of the presentation, as you're showing them what you have done and what you will do, and then as you're showing this and making your request, you're not saying to them, if you don't give me this pay raise, I'm leaving and you'll have this big problem, or you'll have this lack of production. You show them what you are going to do in the future, where you're going to have the production, and then they put the two together and they realize, he didn't say this, but we're not stupid. We can put the two and two together, and we've figured out what the results are going to be if we don't give them the pay raise, we don't give them what they deserve, if we don't give them the additional assistance they need to accomplish their goals. We're going to put them up to a position where they have to quit, they have to leave, and that's unacceptable to us because we don't want that loss. Now, if that's the way that we can influence their thinking, if we can switch them from, you've done a good job in the past, yeah, we'll give you a cost of living increase. If we change it from that to, you've done a good job in the past, you've proven that you have good results, and we totally believe that you're the right person to do this next phase, this next year's set of goals, then they can put those two together and see that. You leave out the part of, if I don't get this, I'm going to leave, or if you don't give me these things that I need, I won't be able to do this job. It's, here's what I've done, here's what I can do, and here's what I'm requesting. You're not making the direct link. It's not that you're making it too veiled. Obviously you want it there, but you want them to put those together. So I've touched on a little bit about if you're asking for things that are beyond just your salary, and if those are including of assistants, more personnel that are put under your control that go towards accomplishing the goals that you're in charge of, or if it is tools, or if it is spending some money in order to acquire more leads, or however your business is operated, whatever your position is, this is where we also want to plant those seeds that here's what we can accomplish if we do these things, and this is what I'm requesting. Now, since your request may have a salary increase and have some of these other items, we want to make sure that they understand that the salary is there for you, that some of the future endeavors will be enhanced if they give you the other tools that you've requested. Another way to influence their thinking is to have them think about how your production is your boss's production. So if you can influence them into thinking about, once I get these things done, won't this look good for you to your boss? Or I know this has been something that you've been trying to accomplish, and I can do this. I just need to have these things given to me so that I can accomplish them for you. When you can use terminology that says, I want to accomplish this for you, or I want to accomplish this for the company, you're taking it away from, I want this, me, to, I need these things so that I can help you. And if you can change if you can change their thinking with just the terminology that you use, therefore your benefits are increased without having it come back on you as, we gave you all of this, we gave and gave and gave to you, and we demand these results. It's more of a partnership when you say, if you can give me these things, I can deliver the results, therefore I give back to you. You're basically borrowing those things from them. Now, the salary is what they're paying you to accomplish the part that you're accomplishing personally. The additional benefits to the company, it's all swirled together. It's one big stew that you're putting together for them. Now, influencing others is something that we touch on throughout this series. Most of the steps have some element of how we're going to influence the other party. So look at this step as more of something that laces it all together. As you're considering how you influence other people, and as you know from previous steps, that asking the right questions can get them to change their thinking in a direction that you want them to explore. Questions are a great way to do it. Changing their thinking to a particular perspective, a future tense, those types of things. Give it a little thought and see where you need to put their attention, and then how is best to do that. I want to talk a little bit though about, it's not just about influencing others. I personally found that as I was looking to influence other people by asking questions and changing their perspectives, I realized that I could do the same thing for myself. And when I turned that around and I started asking myself better questions, when I started asking the questions and seeing how I evaluate who I am and where I'm coming from, I found that the influencing of myself was even more valuable. If you can find in this process a way to influence yourself, what are your hot buttons? What changes for you when you change your perspective from where you're at currently or what you've done in the past to a future perspective, or what you can do for your career in the long haul, or making decisions about your career and how they fit into your lifestyle. And you question yourself and you look at these things from a perspective that is influencing your behavior, taking all of the components that we're talking about now and later on in the series, and putting them together to determine how best you can influence yourself. Ultimately, if you can influence yourself, you can learn these techniques and turn them back around and influence the other parties that you interact with all the time, making it a very conscious, deliberate decision. That doesn't mean that you go through your whole day calculating and thinking, okay, I want to influence this person this way and that person that way. It's more of having a determined intent and then moving through your days with those desired goals in mind. But always realizing that it's at certain key times that you're going to purposely put a lot of energy into it. Your presentation being one, and the preparation for your presentation being another. All right. I'm Rick Richardson. This is the Salary Step Up series. We really appreciate you watching, and we look forward to seeing you at the next step. Thanks.